Welcome to Mythos AI, your source for Cliff's Notes on complex subjects. Join Anna and Phil for yet another engaging conversation.
Today we're diving deep into the Danish welfare state.
A model known for its dedication to social equity and economic efficiency.
We're primarily using the Danish welfare state history, structure, challenges, and future prospects for this.
That's a great resource.
Our goal is to understand how this system works.
How it compares to the U.S. system?
And the challenges it faces in the 21st century.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Danish welfare state we see today,
Right.
it didn't just appear overnight.
Yeah.
It evolved from 19th century poor relief acts,
Interesting.
which were very limited
Okay.
and often carried a social stigma.
I see.
The big turning point came after World War II,
Right.
when Denmark shifted toward a universal approach to welfare.
A prime example of this shift is free higher education in the 1970s.
Yes.
This really opened up university education,
so.
breaking down those class barriers
Absolutely.
that existed in earlier systems.
The Danish welfare model
Yeah.
is built on three main pillars.
Okay.
Universalism,
Okay.
progressive taxation.
Okay. And comprehensive public services.
Okay, let's break those down.
Sure.
What does universalism actually mean in practice?
Universalism means everyone has equal access to essential services.
Regardless of income.
Right, like healthcare, education, and social security,
So, for example.
childcare support,
Okay.
and free public schooling,
Yeah.
all the way through university.
Those are prime examples.
Exactly.
Okay, and how does Denmark fund such an extensive system?
Through progressive taxation.
Okay.
This means people with higher incomes pay a larger percentage of their income in taxes.
Okay.
Top income tax rates in Denmark,
Yeah.
they can reach around 56%.
56%. That sounds high.
It does.
How do Danes feel about paying that much in taxes?
I think it's crucial to understand the value they get in return.
Okay.
So let's say someone is earning $100,000 a year.
Okay.
They might pay around $50,000 in taxes.
Wow.
But
yeah.
they don't have to worry about healthcare costs,
Right.
education expenses for their children,
Yeah.
or childcare fees.
I
Their
get-
savings, they can really add up.
So they're essentially prepaying for these services through taxes
Exactly.
rather than paying for them out of pocket.
It's a different way of looking at the role of government
Yeah.
and the relationship between individuals and society.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about comprehensive public services?
This pillar ensures a safety net for all citizens.
Okay.
It covers everything,
Right.
from free health care and universal pensions to unemployment benefits,
Wow.
and even student stipends.
Okay.
A university student in Denmark, for example,
Okay.
receives about $940 a month.
From the government
Right.
to help with living expenses.
Exactly.
To really understand the Danish model,
Yeah.
let's compare it to the U.S. system,
Okay.
starting with healthcare.
Sure.
How do the two systems differ?
Well, in Denmark,
Yeah.
healthcare is universal
Okay.
and entirely tax-funded.
Okay.
So this means that
Yeah.
if a Danish citizen needs a major surgery,
There's no direct cost.
wow.
Treatment, hospitalization, follow-up care.
Yeah.
It's all covered.
In contrast,
Yes.
the U.S. has a market-driven healthcare system
Right.
with a lot of people
Yeah.
without health insurance.
Around 30 million people are uninsured.
Wow.
So in the U.S., a major surgery could end up costing over $150,000.
That's a huge financial burden on individuals.
It is.
Besides the financial burden,
Right.
what are some other key differences in the healthcare experience?
Well, Denmark really focuses on preventive care.
Okay,
They offer free checkups, screenings, and public health initiatives.
that makes sense.
This proactive approach helps reduce long-term costs
Yeah.
and improve overall health.
While in the U.S.,
Yeah.
high out-of-pocket costs for preventive care,
Often deter people from seeking those services
and that can lead to poorer health.
and potentially higher costs later on.
Now let's move on to education.
Sure.
How does the Danish approach differ from the U.S.?
In Denmark,
Yeah.
education is free from primary school all the way through university.
Wow.
Plus, students get stipends
Oh.
of about $940 a month for living expenses.
In the U.S.,
Yeah.
higher education can leave students with a lot of debt.
A lot of debt.
So a Danish medical student graduates debt-free,
Right.
while an American counterpart might owe over $200,000 in student loans.
That's a huge difference.
How does this impact individuals and society?
Well, it has profound implications for career choices and economic mobility.
In what way?
Danish graduates,
Yeah.
they're free to pursue their passions
Right.
or fields where they can really contribute to society without being burdened by debt.
Right.
Whereas American graduates, they often have to make choices based on repaying their loans.
That makes sense.
It can discourage them from pursuing less lucrative but socially valuable careers.
Okay, let's talk about Social Security.
Okay.
How does Denmark ensure a basic income for its elderly?
Denmark offers universal pensions.
Okay.
This means a basic income for all elderly citizens.
Regardless of work history.
Exactly.
So even a retired farmer with minimal lifetime earnings.
Receives a pension of around $13,000 a year,
Wow.
which is enough to cover basic living costs.
In the U.S.,
Yeah.
Social Security benefits are tied to lifetime earnings.
Right.
So this disadvantages low-income retirees,
It does.
many of whom struggle to make ends meet in retirement.
Yes.
How does the Danish welfare system deal with poverty and social mobility?
Denmark's welfare system effectively minimizes poverty.
Okay.
It does this through programs like subsidized housing,
Yeah.
free childcare,
Yeah.
and unemployment benefits.
Okay.
These programs provide crucial support for single parents in particular.
In what way?
It allows them to re-enter the workforce
Okay.
and improve their situation.
The U.S., on the other hand,
Right.
offers limited welfare benefits
Yes.
and has high childcare costs.
This combination can trap families, especially single-parent households,
Yeah.
in cycles of poverty.
Making upward mobility much harder.
It does.
So Danes pay some of the highest taxes globally.
Yes.
How do they feel about that?
Well, I think you have to consider the benefits that these taxes fund.
Right.
A family paying 50% of their income in taxes.
Yeah.
They get free health care,
Okay.
education,
Yeah.
and subsidized childcare.
Right.
They see that their taxes contribute to a system that benefits them
Okay.
and their community.
In the U.S.,
Right.
lower tax rates are often offset by higher out-of-pocket costs for these same services.
Exactly.
So that can lead to greater financial strain despite lower taxes.
It raises an interesting question.
What's that?
Is the financial burden really lower in a system with lower taxes but significantly higher costs for these essential services?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Finally, let's compare work-life balance and vacation time
Okay.
in Denmark and the U.S.
Denmark prioritizes a healthy work-life balance.
Okay.
The standard work week is 37 hours.
Okay.
And everyone gets at least 5 weeks of paid vacation per year. So a Danish worker can take 3 weeks off in the summer.
Sure.
No problem.
Okay.
No worries about job security
Yeah.
or feeling pressured to be constantly available.
In contrast,
Yeah.
the average American work week is 40 hours or more.
Yes.
And paid vacation time,
It's often limited to 2 weeks.
if that.
Exactly.
This difference in work culture can really affect employee well-being
It can.
and job satisfaction.
Absolutely. Denmark's flexicurity model is another key part of its economic system.
Yeah. What does flexicurity mean?
Well, it's a system that balances labor market flexibility with worker protections.
Okay.
So employers can hire and fire pretty easily,
Okay.
but laid-off workers get generous unemployment benefits,
How generative.
up to 90% of their salary for 2 years,
Wow.
capped at about $4,000 a month.
Okay.
So it's not just about making things easy for employers.
Right.
It's also about supporting workers during transitions.
Exactly.
Denmark also offers strong retraining programs
Oh.
to help these workers transition into new industries.
So they can stay active in the workforce.
Right.
This is quite different from the U.S.,
It is.
where unemployment benefits are often limited,
And vary from state to state.
leaving many workers without enough support.
Yes.
It seems like the Danish system really tries to minimize the impact of economic shifts on individuals.
That's right.
It's one of the core ideas of the welfare state,
Yes.
to provide security during uncertain times,
Exactly.
beyond the economic implications.
Yeah.
What are the social and cultural impacts of this system?
Well, by reducing inequality,
Go on.
the system fosters social trust and cohesion,
Okay.
things like paid parental leave,
Yeah.
which provides 52 weeks total,
Wow.
14 weeks for mothers,
Okay.
and the rest is shareable between parents.
Okay.
This allows both parents to be involved in caregiving,
Yeah.
and it promotes gender equality.
This is very different from the U.S.,
It is.
where there's no federally mandated paid parental leave,
And that often forces parents,
especially mothers,
yes,
to leave the workforce.
right,
And that contributes to gender disparities in careers and earning potential.
it does.
Now,
Yeah.
the Danish model does have challenges in the 21st century.
It does.
What are some of the biggest ones?
Well, one of the most significant is the aging population.
Okay.
Projections show that 1 in 4 Danes will be over 65 by 2030.
Wow.
This puts increasing strain on the pension and healthcare systems.
Yeah.
This demographic shift
Ooh.
means more healthcare services and pension payouts are needed,
Boy.
putting pressure on public finances.
Another challenge is immigration and integration.
Yes.
How is Denmark handling this?
Immigrants to Denmark
Yeah.
often face barriers,
Like what?
things like language proficiency and
Right.
getting their foreign qualifications recognized.
Yeah.
These hurdles can delay their entry into the workforce,
Yeah, okay.
leading to a short-term reliance on welfare.
And this reliance on welfare could cause social tensions
Yes.
and make it hard to maintain the universal welfare model.
It can,
That's especially
with globalization,
right.
particularly corporate tax competition.
Yeah,
It threatens Denmark's ability to keep up its high level of public spending.
I see.
Multinational companies might move to countries with lower tax rates.
Yeah.
This reduces government revenue
Right.
and could impact funding for those extensive welfare programs.
So how is Denmark responding to these challenges?
The government has implemented several policies.
Okay.
One is raising the retirement age
Okay.
to reflect longer lifespans.
So this will reduce the strain on the pension system.
Exactly.
Are there other strategies to deal with the pressure on finances?
They're encouraging people to invest in private pension schemes.
To reduce reliance on public funds?
Yes.
And diversify retirement income?
Right.
And Denmark has also put in place integration policies
Okay.
aimed at boosting workforce participation among immigrants.
What do those policies involve?
Things like free language courses.
Expanding access to education
Okay.
and subsidized employment programs.
So these initiatives aim to give immigrants the skills and resources they need.
To succeed in the Danish labor market.
Okay, what should Denmark focus on in the future?
Well, to ensure the long-term sustainability of its welfare model,
Yeah.
Denmark needs to embrace innovation,
In what areas?
particularly in green technology and digital transformation.
To ensure economic growth.
Right.
While preserving the welfare model.
Exactly.
Investing in renewable energy is a good example.
Yes.
Not only does it create jobs,
But it establishes Denmark as a leader in sustainable
it's
development
attracting investment.
and boosting competitiveness.
So the Danish welfare state offers a compelling model
Yes.
for promoting social equity and well-being.
Through universal access to essential services.
Its successes really contrast with the market-driven approach in the U.S.,
They do.
where access to healthcare, education, and Social Security often depends on your income. But keeping this model going requires adapting to demographic, economic, and global pressures.
By embracing innovation and inclusivity,
Yeah.
Denmark can continue to inspire other nations.
Seeking to create more equitable and sustainable societies.
Exactly.
The Danish model shows us the potential of these universal welfare systems
Yes,
to create a more just and equitable society.
it does.
However, its success relies on adapting to the challenges of the 21st century.
It does.
This raises a crucial question.
What's that?
Could elements of this model be adopted in other countries?
To address those social and economic inequalities, that's a tough question. The Danish model, it's deeply rooted in Danish culture and history.
Okay.
It's not just about policies. It reflects deeply held values about social responsibility and the role of government.
Let's see.
So whether this kind of system could work in other countries
Yeah.
with different cultures and political systems,
Right.
it's debatable.
What trade-offs might be involved in adopting parts of the Danish model?
Well, one big one is the level of taxation.
Okay.
Remember we talked about how Danes pay some of the highest taxes in the world?
Yeah.
That might not be politically possible in other countries.
Are there other potential drawbacks?
Some people argue that high taxes and generous benefits
Yeah.
can discourage investment and entrepreneurship.
There you go.
But Denmark's strong economy suggests that might not always be true.
What can we learn from Denmark?
Well, even if we can't copy the whole model,
Yeah.
it makes us rethink
Rethink what?
our assumptions about government and individuals.
Okay.
It shows that investing in citizens and providing a strong safety net
Yeah.
can actually create a more dynamic and resilient economy.
The Danish example also shows the importance of thinking long-term
Yes.
when making policies,
Absolutely.
focusing on lasting solutions.
Rather than just short-term gains.
Right, like their investment in renewable energy?
Exactly.
That's forward thinking.
It is.
So the main takeaway from our deep dive into the Danish welfare state is that there are other ways to structure a society and an economy.
The Danish model, with its focus on universalism, social investment, and equity,
Yeah.
it offers valuable insights for everyone.
Policymakers and citizens alike.
Yes. It shows that a society that prioritizes the well-being of all its citizens.
Can achieve both economic prosperity and social harmony.
Exactly.
Can or should other countries adopt elements of the Danish model?
That's a question for further discussion and debate.
But the Danish experience gives us a lot to think about.
It does.
It encourages us to reconsider the social contract
And move beyond that old idea of individual responsibility versus government help
towards a more collaborative approach.
to building a better future.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Danish welfare state.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Mythos AI. Stay tuned for more concise insights. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe for future episodes.